America's turning 250, and it's time to rock out with our forefathers. American-made, battle-ready style for true patriots. Whether you're marching in the parade, grilling in the backyard, or raising a toast to liberty, do it in the gear that screams freedom. Celebrate 250 years of USA in style. Wear your American pride loud. Trendjackers.etsy.com. Grab yours before the fireworks.
From Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, this is Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. TicketBash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. TicketBash.com is the best site to go to for Super Bowl packages. You can use code HOLIDAY15 for a limited time for 15% off your order. Sports Bash is also presented by the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund, a group of like-minded individuals trying to raise awareness to our future generations of all possibilities of success other than just college. For more information, visit www.lookwhomadeit.org. Hi again, everyone. Happy Thursday. I'm Peter Schwartz. Welcome to Sports Bash. 516-465-3990 is the number to call, and there is lots to talk about in the world of sports as we're just a few days away from Super Bowl 60 between the Patriots and the Seahawks. We've got the first half, unofficially, of the NHL season ending. The Islanders and Devils are playing each other tonight. The Rangers are playing as well. It's the last game for everybody before the Olympic break. And speaking of the Olympics, it's already underway. The USA women's team is in action today, the day before the opening ceremonies. We'll get to the score of the game when we have the flash coming up in a couple of minutes. But a lot to talk about, so give us a call at 516-465-3990. Great show for you. Coming up, we got a bunch of good guests on the show. Coming up in about 20 minutes, former Jets cornerback Erik Coleman, who's now in broadcasting, is going to join me on the show. I go back with Erik all the way. I have a great photo of, I don't remember if I sent it to Tony. I may have to send it to him during the break, but I didn't send it to you, right? Tony Walker, my producer and the host of the Knock 'em Dead comedy show from 11 to 12:30 Monday through Friday here at Governor's. So Erik Coleman was a rookie with the Jets in 2004. It was a fifth-round draft pick. And I just remember Herm Edwards, the head coach at the time, walking in to the press room at Hofstra and asked, what rookie is standing out so far? And I think that was the Jonathan Vilma draft, where they drafted him first overall. And you would think, wow, the coach is going to talk about Jonathan Vilma, the first pick. No, he goes, this kid, this fifth-round pick we got, this cornerback, Erik Coleman, he's been unbelievable. And I have a picture of me in a media scrum. One of the Jets photographers took the picture, and I'll get it to you during the break because I want to show it when Erik is on the program later. But it's me interviewing Erik Coleman with some other reporters around a locker room, around his locker. Again, he's a rookie and everything. And years later, after he was done playing, he moved back to Long Island. He came. It was great. It was a great moment. He came to my son's Pee-wee football practice, and he talked to the whole team, which was just so cool. I mean, my kids have grown up in this already, like meeting athletes after athletes, But for these kids, or everybody else on Bradley's team, was incredible to meet a guy who played in the NFL. And I took that picture out that night because I was like a kid too. Even though he's like a friend of mine. So I took the picture to the practice that night, and he autographed the picture for me, which I thought was pretty cool going back to knowing him since 2004. So Erik Coleman's going to join us. We'll break down everything with the Jets coaching stuff. We'll talk to him about the Super Bowl, and actually we're going to talk about something really cool. Me and Erik are going to be working together on something very, very soon, and we're going to talk about that when Erik Coleman joins us on the show. Later on in the program, we are going to talk some hockey, but not NHL hockey. The second annual USA Challenge Cup between the Jerusalem Capitals and HC Tel Aviv is coming to UBS Arena Sunday, February 22nd at 5 o'clock. If you don't know what this is a professional hockey game, two teams from Israel. Last year, they played at UBS Arena. It was the first ever professional hockey game between two teams from Israel in the United States, and that took place at UBS Arena last year. They're bringing it back again this year, February 22nd, 5 o'clock at UBS. Last year's game was incredible. It went to overtime, and there were some fights in the game too, but 8,000 people. So basically the whole lower bowl of UBS Arena was filled up for that game, and I would hope they get even more than that. It was a wonderful experience, and looking forward to going to that again on February 22nd. So on the show, we're going to be joined by Jerusalem Capitals assistant captain Josh Greenberg, Tel Aviv assistant captain Chris Blake, and Mark Brunengraber, who is the co-founder and co-commissioner of the Israel Elite Hockey League. And by the way, they sent these to me last year. I brought them back again. So let me just show everybody. These are the two jerseys you're going to see in the game that night. This is the Jerusalem Capitals. Tony, do I have a good shot at it right here?
You do.
Okay, this is the Jerusalem Capitals jersey. You'll see that night. And by the way, the back of the jersey is really nice. Has the Israeli flag underneath the collar. And this is HC Tel Aviv. Another beautiful jersey. They really did a nice job.
Come towards me with that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
Back the other way. There you go.
Right there. Good.
Right there.
Yep.
Yeah, let me hold it up so you can
go.
see Tel Aviv. And again, they've got the Israeli flag on the back of it as well. Last year, I rooted for Tel Aviv in the game because I can't root for a Capitals team. I can't. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this year, maybe I'll switch. I don't know. But there's just something. I can't root for a team whose name is the Capitals, NHL or not NHL. I just can't do it. And my friend Neil from Midnight Riders, who belongs to the Latip networking group that we're part of, you agree with me too, right? You can't root for the Capitals, right? Because Neil's a huge Islander fan as well. So no, but we'll be respectful. Look, I've had former Rangers on the show too, so you have to be respectful. So I'll be respectful, but I think at the game again, I'm going to root for Tel Aviv again this year. So we've got that coming up on the show. We've got what's hot at ticketbash.com, the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day, and we'll check out the Coaches Collectibles item of the week. It's time for the Sports Bash Flash. It is presented by the Marty Lyons Foundation, granting wishes for 43 years. For more information, visit martylyonsfoundation.org. You know how sometimes on the show, and Tony, you know this, something always happens as soon as we get off the air. I check my phone, and my wife jokes at me all the time how the phone is attached to my hip. So I'm always, I don't want to miss anything. So I check all the time, and nothing happens while we're on the show. As soon as I get in the car, 2:05, something happens. A trade, coach gets fired, coach gets hired. It always happens. Thankfully today, something happened before the show went on the air, which is great. I'm very excited about that because it involves the Knicks and a trade because today is the NBA trading deadline. So the Knicks have made what I think is actually a sneaky good trade today. It may not look great stats-wise, but this guy is a good player. They acquired Jose Alvarado from the New Orleans Pelicans in exchange for Dalen Terry, 2 second-round picks, and cash. He's played in 41 games this year, 7.9 points a game, 2.8 rebounds, 3.1 assists. And again, the stats don't knock your socks off, but he's just another guy that you're going to put in that rotation that will be reliable off the bench. And I think that's a really good, sneaky move by Leon Rose and the Knicks today to add another guy in the rotation as the Knicks make their march towards the playoffs. And based on the win last night, this is a Knicks team right now. When you think about how wide open the Eastern Conference is, this is a Knicks team that's got a really good shot to go to the NBA Finals. Maybe the Detroit Pistons are the only team that could be stopping the Knicks from doing that, but this is a really good Knicks team, and the team that beat the Nuggets last night in double overtime, 134-127, Jalen Brunson, 42 points, and again, this Knicks team, there's to me, there's two things that will hold the Knicks back. And I think it's the same two things everybody else is going to talk about. Number one, Karl-Anthony Towns. Is he going to come to play every single night in the playoffs? That's number one. And I think number two, and this might be even more important than Karl-Anthony Towns, is Mitchell Robinson. I mean, everyone wanted to run this guy out of town a couple of years ago, and he is healthy now, and he is a force on both ends of the floor. His rebounding, his block shots, and his rebounding, when I say this, not just the defensive side, but his offensive rebounding is so good. It's been so good this year, and he could be a huge X factor for the Knicks when they get into the playoffs, and they cannot lose him. Listen, they've lost other guys in the playoffs before. You know, Brunson's been banged up, Josh Hart too, and obviously Karl-Anthony Towns is another story. But the Knicks can ill afford to lose Mitchell Robinson. He has been that good for them this year. So the Knicks won their 8th game in a row last night, 134-127, double overtime. I mentioned Jalen Brunson with 42 points. Tonight, the Islanders visit the Devils. You want an interesting stat? I just saw it before I came in, that somebody, my good friend Mark Ernay, who I used to work with at 1010 Wins and The Fan, had a great tweet before. So you know that the Islanders have swept the Rangers in the season series this year. The Islanders lead the Devils 3-0 in the season series this year. It has never happened in the history of local hockey when there's been, after the Devils came from Colorado, there has never been a scenario where one of the three teams has swept the other two. And the Islanders have a chance to do that tonight at Prudential Center, and they'll get a chance to do it tonight in front of me and my son Jared, who are going to the game tonight. So that'll be schlepping on 2 trains, LIRR into Penn, and then the NJ Transit connection into Newark Penn, and the short little walk over to Prudential Center. And I'll tell you right now, the Devils are not playing very well right now. That is going to be an invasion of blue and orange at the Rock tonight. An absolute invasion. If you've been there before, and there's always a lot of Islander fans there, tonight it may feel like UBS Arena in New Jersey. That's how I think it's going to feel tonight, because a lot of Devil fans are not happy, and I can bet you that a lot of them are dumping their tickets. And if you're going to dump your tickets, please do so on ticketbash.com, because that's the best way to get the best bang for your buck, is if you use ticketbash.com. The Olympics are underway in Italy. Tomorrow's the opening ceremonies, but hockey is underway today. The women's USA team, last I checked, 5-1, leading Czechia in the third period. So a good start for Team USA at the Olympics. Also tonight, the Rangers, really who cares about them, but they do host the Hurricanes, and the Nets are in Orlando. And that's what's happening. Sports Bash Flash is presented by the Marty Lyons Foundation. Lots to talk about on the show today. We're going to talk to Erik Coleman about the Super Bowl and about everything that's going on with the Jets, and maybe we'll get his thoughts on what's happening with the Giants as well. I am still over the moon about my good friend Matt Nagy becoming the Giants offensive coordinator, although the Giants haven't officially announced it yet. And for those who missed the show the other day, so Matt Nagy and I go back to when he was a quarterback for the New York Dragons at the Coliseum in the Arena Football League. And I've stayed in touch with him, still friends all these years, and following him through his coaching journey with the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Bears as head coach, back to the Chiefs, and now he's going to be the Giants offensive coordinator. And I asked this question the other day, and I'm still fielding people's thoughts on this. Everyone knows who watches the show. If you know me, you follow me, whatever, you know how much of a diehard Jets fan I am, and I should put miserable in front of that as well. Am I now obligated? Am I obligated and I'll throw this out, Tony and my friend Neil, who's here today, and anybody who wants to call the show at 516-465-3990. Because Matt Nagy is a friend of mine, am I now obligated to root for the Giants?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Tony, Neil? No, thumbs down from Neil from Midnight Riders. I think I have to like casually wish them well. Obviously, when they play the Jets, no dice. Sorry, Matt. But I think I have to casually like the Giants a little bit. I'm going to probably want to go out to see training camp a little bit and say hello to him. Maybe get to a Giants game this year. But I do think in my heart of hearts, as much as it pains me, and I'll tell you right now, my father, may he rest in peace, is up there in heaven, and he's laughing his ass off at me that I have to do this, because you know the story about how my father was a diehard Giants fan, and he made the mistake of taking me to a Jet game for my first NFL game, and for some fakakta reason, I fell in love with the Jets, sitting at freezing Shea Stadium in 1977, watching them lose to the Buffalo Bills, but there was something about it that attracted me, and my dad would always bust my balls, for years about abandoning him and becoming a Jet fan. But now I guess I kind of obligated to feel good about them because a good friend of mine is on the coaching staff. So we'll see how that goes. Neil, that's $20 in the hopper for you. So there's a rule at the Latip networking group, and they tell you this at the beginning of the meeting all the time. You have to put your phone on silence. And if your phone goes off during the meeting, you got to put $20 in the hopper for the 50-50 raffle drawing. So they make the announcement. Todd gets up there with the microphone all the time and says, make sure you turn your phones. It's $20 in the hopper. And my understanding is that Neil has been hit with a fine a couple of times. And he came in here and he's been nothing but being on his phone since he walked into the studio. And I said to him, I said, you got to make sure you don't, I'll follow the same rules here. And now he's can we get the aerial shot of Neil trying to find his money? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so his phone just went off. So I'm like, oh, that's $20 in the hopper. Yeah, all right, we'll make arrangements for that. That same place you took me last year?
Yeah, no
That's an inside joke about a football team that never happened. And Tony just spit up his drink. Let me get to the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. It's presented by the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. We post a new question every Tuesday and Thursday on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. Here is the question. It's our last show before the Super Bowl, so this had to be the question today. Who is going to win Super Bowl 60? Will it be the AFC champion New England Patriots? God, I hope not. The NFC champion Seattle Seahawks? I hope so. Or 3, I don't care. So get your votes. Let me take a quick look and see on the Twitter page. Let's take a look and see what the tail of the tape is right now. When did I post that? I posted that this morning early because I wanted to make sure we got a good... here we go. Seahawks 65% so far. Patriots 9% so far. And I don't care has 26% so far. That's actually a bigger number than I thought it was going to be. Tony, what do you say?
Don't care.
Don't care. Neil?
I have to go with Mr. Kraft.
With Mr. Kraft? Now I'm really going to make you pay $20 in the hopper. I want to see it. It's personal. Because he's Jewish? There you go. So who are you going to root for in the Jewish hockey game? Are you going to root for Tel Aviv or Jerusalem?
I haven't figured it out yet.
Okay, well, you have to.
Maybe I'll go.
You'll have to. There you go. Maybe I'll get you tickets. You never know. So most people are rooting for the Seahawks, according to the poll question. Before we get to the break, and Erik Coleman is going to join us after the break, I wanted to bring up, and I'm writing a story about this for GreaterLongIsland.com, but I wanted to make sure I talked about it here on the show because I think this is a really cool story here on Long Island. David Nieves, who is a Verizon sales representative at the Verizon Wireless store at the Smith Haven Mall. He's a resident of Yaphank. There was a contest among the sales reps all across the country for Verizon Wireless. And what they did was they had this thing called the Ultimate Experience. There are 6 regions across the country. The top 3 in the fourth quarter of the year, the top 3 performing sales reps each win a trip for 2 to the Super Bowl. So the top 3 in each region, a total of 18 individuals, get to go with a guest to Super Bowl 60 this weekend in San Francisco. And they're leaving tomorrow, and David Nieves is one of the 3 that won the group, the region that stretched from Maine all the way down to Virginia. So congratulations to Yap Hanks, David Nieves, going with his father Felix to Super Bowl 60 this weekend in San Francisco, Santa Clara, the Bay Area, however you want to describe it. But they're leaving tomorrow, and they've got this whole itinerary. They get to go to see this NFL alumni event tomorrow night. On Saturday, there's choice of events they got, and this was great, and David told me about this yesterday. He's going with his dad on a boat ride that's going to take him under the Golden Gate Bridge. It's going to take him to Fisherman's Wharf, and it's going to take them to Alcatraz. And that is a wonderful, wonderful trip that they're going to go on this weekend. And they get a VIP tailgate party on Sunday. So congratulations to David Nieves of Yaphank and his father. They're going to be going to the Super Bowl this week, courtesy of Verizon and the Ultimate Experience. Really quick break. When we come back on the show, my good friend and former Jets cornerback Erik Coleman is going to join us. We'll talk gangrene. We'll talk about the Super Bowl when we come back here on Sports Bash right after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. I'm Peter Schwartz. A great weekend coming up for football fans. It's Super Bowl 60 on Sunday between the Seahawks and the Patriots. So that's happening. Other spring leagues are starting to pop up. They're going to start after the Super Bowl. So there's so much football to talk about. The Jets and the Giants busy in the news as well. And I always love bringing on my good friend to talk football. And he was a Jets draft pick in 2004, went on to a terrific career in the NFL that also included some time with the Detroit Lions and the Atlanta Falcons. I want to bring in my good friend, Erik Coleman. Erik, it's Peter. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. How you doing, Peter?
I'm doing great. How's the weather down there in Florida?
You know, it's been beautiful, a little chilly, but today it decided to rain, so there's clouds. It's my first day not seeing the sun in about a week.
Wow.
So I can't really complain.
Yeah, well, it's funny because, my mom lives in Boca, and I've got other family down there in South Florida, and they've all been complaining to us, to my wife and I, every single day about how cold it is, and I'm like, here, hold my beer. It's like 0 degrees here now.
Yeah, you know what? I had to make a trip up to New York during that winter storm, right before the winter storm, and I was there. I was actually in Pennsylvania throughout the storm, and when I woke up and it said 1 degree on my phone, I said, oh yeah, I made the right decision by living in Florida. So
yeah,
you might want to make that trip down.
You know what? I made it very, very clear, Erik, years ago, because at the, everyone was always putting the full court press on me to move to Florida. Oh, look at the weather. I'm a New York guy. I'm a Long Island guy. And if I can't be around my teams and my family and all that stuff, like I want no part of sweating my you-know-what off in Florida all year round. So I need, my family is here, my teams are here. This is where I'm going to be until I call it a life.
All right. I'm not mad at you.
That's okay. I can still come down and visit as much. I mean, it's still a great place to get out of town. I got to get your thoughts on what's going on with the Jets. Obviously, there's been so much. Aaron Glenn taking over this past year as as the head coach, and obviously it didn't go well, 3-14, and he's basically been able to hit Control-Alt-Delete on his coaching staff. What were your thoughts on the aftermath of the season and Aaron getting a shot at doing his coaching staff over?
My thoughts after the season were, I understand. Like, when you look at the defense, they didn't play very well. The defense has always been kind of like the flagship of the Jets. No matter if they win 4 games, they go to the AFC Championship, the Jets always have to have great defense. And when you bring in Aaron Glenn as a head coach, you expect that. And when the defense didn't play well last year, no turnovers, no interceptions in the secondary.
I can't believe they had no – Erik, as a former defensive back, is that not unbelievable that they had not one interception? I mean – You get an interception during the course of the year by accident. That's the tip drill. The quarterback throws a bad ball. It gets tipped. How did they not get an interception? I don't get it.
I have no idea, Peter. I was telling one of my friends, I played with Ty Law, that I think my 3rd year in the league. Mm-hmm. He came over to the Jets, and Ty Law was out of shape. He didn't do weigh-ins. And Ty Law got 10 interceptions that year, and like 8 of them were off tip passes. And he went to the Pro Bowl. I think he was all pro that year, and literally 8 of his 10 interceptions were off tip passes. I don't understand how a D lineman didn't get his hand up, knock the ball out. Like, it's really incredible that they were able to get through a season without turning over the football, getting interceptions. But back to that question. I understand. I was surprised at how late in the offseason he got rid of the coaches, but I do understand that he has to make changes. You only really have one opportunity, especially when your team doesn't play well. So I think that, he got through that one season. It was terrible. Understandably, they have a lot of cap room. They have a lot of draft picks coming up. So now it's a big opportunity for Aaron Glenn to get his type of guys into the room. And now you get to do a reset. You've got a year under your belt coaching. You understand the lay of the land. Now bring in some trusted assistants, and hopefully Frank Wright can get the offense going, and I'm positive that defense is going to get better.
Brian Duker comes over from the Dolphins to become the new defensive coordinator, and that defense needs a bit of a shake-up. They need to get some they have some good pieces on the defensive side of the ball, Erik, but I think they're going to look to the draft and to free agency to try and shore that up, because they just did not force enough turnovers. They could not get off the field enough on 3rd down. So that's I think almost as much as on the offensive side of the ball, and obviously they need a quarterback, but I think that defense needs a whole lot of work this offseason.
Yeah, they do. I mean, anytime you lose Quentin Williams, you lose Sauce Gardner, you're going to have some holes in your defense. But I'm very confident in the scouting department. I'm very confident in Aaron Glenn that he can put some players together. You hear rumors about guys who are planning on making making the trade over to the Jets, and you can't help but get excited at some of the names. So hopefully they pick up some good free agents, make some great decisions in the draft, because there's a lot of good linebackers in that draft. And put together a good team. That would be great to see.
When you think about the new coaches that are coming to the Jets, and I saw this on Twitter earlier today, so there's still some rumored names that the Jets might be interested in bringing in to round out the coaching staff. And the one name that popped out to me, and you played with him, and I know how excited you would be if he comes over, but Kevin Mawai's name has been brought up as a possibility to come to the Jets as their offensive line coach. And you and I both know him very well, a Pro Football Hall of Famer, one of the great centers in the history of the National Football League and certainly of the Jets. He was a terrific player for Gang Green. What do you think that would mean to the Jets' offensive line if Kevin Mawai came over as the coach?
I think it can't do anything but help. Kevin he was an outstanding player. Not only that, he was a great leader. I mean, when I was playing, he was the president of the union. He's a stand-up guy. Someone that the guys believe in. That's an honor that your teammates vote for you. So a lot of guys, they look to Kevin for that leadership. So he would be great. Also, Kevin has been coaching for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Since he retired, he's been in the coaching space, whether it be college football, in the NFL. So he's been around the game. He has experience, and I think he'd be a great asset to the team.
What about you? You want to coach the DBs?
You know what, Peter? I just took over the defensive coordinator job at my high school down here, where my kids go to school. So Let me get a year under my belt as a
Okay.
defensive coordinator, and we'll have the same conversation next year.
Definitely will do. We'll see if the Jets have a pick by this time next year. Then we're definitely going to need some help. Erik Coleman, the former Jet cornerback, joining us here on Sports Bash. You mentioned Frank Reich's name before, just hired this week as the Jets' new offensive coordinator. And this guy is about as accomplished of an offensive coach as you can possibly have. He's been a coordinator. He has been a head coach in the NFL. He just helped out his buddy Andrew Luck as the interim head coach at Stanford. But here's the thing, Erik, can he be a factor without a quarterback? The Jets obviously need a quarterback to help him.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to have to make some moves and get a quarterback under center for any offense to be effective. I don't care who you have calling the plays, but I do think Frank Reich is a great leader. He has a lot of experience in the league. He's seen every defense, so he's a guy whoever is under center, whoever's playing that quarterback position, Frank Reich is going to make it simple for him. He's going to get them comfortable, and hopefully just get back to putting points on the board. Having sustainable drives, giving the defense a break. I think that's going to be important for the Jets offense, but it does start with the quarterback position, and we'll see what they do.
And to that point, the Jets with the second pick in the draft are going to just miss out on Fernando Mendoza, who was expected to go number one to the Las Vegas Raiders. But there are some other quarterbacks that are being talked about in the draft. And an intriguing name to me. I'd love to know what you think about this, because obviously he was trying to legally get another year of eligibility back as the Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss, who now it appears he's going to have to enter the draft. And the Jets have the 16th pick in the draft, and they'll have some other capital as well. Is he a guy in your mind that the Jets should keep an eye on and maybe take a chance with that second of their 2 first-round picks?
I'm not so confident, using the second pick on him. But as you mentioned, the Jets do have picks later in the first round. So possibly, if he falls back to later in the first round, second round, I think it would be a good pick for the Jets. I don't want them reaching. They're just, Peter, I think that teams miss on quarterbacks more than they hit on quarterbacks. So I don't think this is an opportunity for the Jets to miss on another quarterback, because, that sets you back 5 years.
Right.
And,
and they have 3 first-round picks. They've got 3 first-round picks next year. So to me, they can almost, get another stopgap this year and use one of the 3 first-round picks next year on a quarterback.
I agree with that. Maybe get a free agent, get a veteran under center, someone who can run the offense efficiently, and then maybe use one of those picks next year, because I don't want them reaching. There's a lot of positions they need to fill. There's a lot of needs that the Jets have. You don't win. You don't have a 15-year playoff drought because you have great players and you're just missing one. There are other players that need to be, other positions that need to be filled. So I think you address those, continue to fortify the team, get coaching staff, in the right order, and then get a veteran quarterback who could lead the show.
The Giants made news this offseason by bringing in John Harbaugh as their new head coach, longtime head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, won a Super Bowl, a tremendous resume that comes to the Giants complex now. That was a no-brainer, right? I mean, that was about as simplistic of a thing for the Giants. They needed a great coach. They got one in John Harbaugh. What did you think of Harbaugh coming to the Giants?
I love the pickup by the Giants. John Harbaugh is a well-respected coach. He's innovative. He's not afraid to change things. Remember when he was in Baltimore, they drafted Lamar Jackson, and he completely changed that offense to cater to Lamar. And he got Lamar a couple of MVPs. He didn't win a Super Bowl with them, but he has had a Super Bowl. Does have a Super Bowl under his belt. I think he's going to do wonderful things with Jackson Dart in that offense. I think he's going to lead that team, get them back to the prestigious ways that when you think of New York Giants, you think of playoff football, you think of a classy organization, and I think John Harbaugh is a great face for that.
Of course, I got to talk to you about the Super Bowl on Sunday, and obviously it's the Patriots and the Seahawks in Super Bowl 60 on Sunday. And to me, when you look, if you break down everything, to me, this looks like a Seahawks victory. But you just can't discount the Patriots, the aura of the New England Patriots, with Mike Vrabel in his first year as head coach. When you look at this game, do you see this being a game in the fourth quarter? How do you size up this matchup?
Yeah, I do see it being I I see the Seahawks taking pulling away in the fourth quarter. I mean, that defense is outstanding by the Seattle Seahawks. Led by Leonard Williams. There's a ton of talent in the defense. They just get after quarterbacks. They're one of the best run stopping defenses in the league, and I think they're going to overpower the Patriots in my eyes. Now, yes, I would love to see Sam Darnold win a Super Bowl. He's a great man. He was always, a really good teammate. He was good with the media, good with his teammates, with the Jets. And I think that he wasn't given a fair hand.
Mm-hmm.
And now that he's progressed, he's matured in the game. He has a good defense behind him. He has a great coach. It would be great to see Sam Darnold walk away with the Super Bowl. But I do think the Seahawks are the better team. They played well all year. And when they play tough opponents, they play them very well. Much respect to the Patriots. I mean, Mike Vrabel is one of my favorite coaches in the league. A guy who I played against as a player. He's tough. He's disciplined. He has fun with the players. All the guys love him. And they've really done a great job of putting together a good team. And just I have a tremendous respect for the organization and what they've done. Getting back to the Super Bowl, the first year bringing in Vrabel, coming off a bad season. I just think it's amazing to continue to have success.
And I got to bring this up because I kind of teased this about two things I teased. First of all, as you remember, when my son Bradley was playing youth football in Levittown, you came to go visit practice one night and spoke to the players. I want to show that picture of you, and the picture that I brought to practice that night was me and you, 2004, in a media scrum, your rookie year, and it's me interviewing you. I was working for ESPN Radio, and there's a media scrum around you in the locker, and as much as the kids enjoyed having you there at practice that night, I was like a kid in the candy store too, because I brought the photo and you autographed it for me that night. So that when you see that picture, and I'm not sure if you can see it with the Zoom connection, but I know you've seen it before. When you see 2004 Erik Coleman and a 2004 Peter Schwartz with hair, what do you think about that?
Well, I think those are two handsome young fellas in that picture. But I do, it brings back great memories. My rookie year was just an amazing experience for me. Coming from Washington State, a small town, coming into Long Island, New York City, that big media market, it was a bit overwhelming. But my teammates were amazing. We were really a fan. It was great. And I made great relationships with people like yourself, Rich Samini. I remember Greg Buttle was a guy that I used to want to fight because the way he talked about it, I'm like, man, who does this guy think he is? But and then now that I'm done playing, Greg's one of my good friends. But I just remember it was circus media in New York. We were a good team, so we had a lot of attention. And you were one of those bright spots. You were one of the guys that when you asked for an interview, I was always excited because you were going to ask really good questions. You were going to be, fun, engaging. It wasn't like you were looking for dirt on anyone. Yeah. And I really appreciate it.
I heard that from a few players. I heard that from a few players.
Out of a small town.
I heard that from a few players. Yeah. So I actually
it's true. Like there were guys who had Yeah, it was bad, Peter. You would have guys that just had a story written, and they're just looking for you to insert a quote in it. Yeah. And you're like, "There's no way I'm touching this." They try to, especially a guy like me. I was a rookie. Yeah. I would come from a small town. They're like, "Oh yeah, we got one," and thankfully I didn't fall for the trap.
Absolutely. Now let's close with this. This is the exciting news that I wanted to share with everybody today, and I've talked about this a little bit. So I am going to be part of the Indoor Football League broadcast team. The Indoor Football League is the longest-running indoor football league in the United States since 2009. It's been continuous ever since 2009, and of course, people know my long-standing history with arena football and indoor football going back to the Dragons. But I am going to be part of the broadcast team this year. I'm going to be doing a handful of games on Yahoo Sports and also on the FanDuel Sports Network. My first game is going to be on Easter Sunday, April 5th, in Orlando, and my color commentator that night is going to be none other than Erik Coleman. I am so excited to broadcast the game with you on television. That is going to be so much fun.
Oh, I can't wait. We've done these interviews for so long. We've become friends. It's going to be a lot of fun to get in the booth with you and analyze the indoor football game. I'm really excited. The league has done some amazing things. They've gone from not having, any games on television to I think they're having over 100 on television this year. So the IFL has made big strides. I'm thankful to be a part of it, and it's going to be awesome to get in the booth with you, Peter.
Do you, and the feeling is mutual, do you think you could have played DB in arena football?
I don't know. I think that I'm more of I've developed into an in the box guy. And, I don't know if I can guard a receiver who's running full speed at me, before the snap. I don't know what I would do with that. So, as much as I would like to say yes, I think it would be a tough challenge. It'd be hard for my ego to give up that many touchdowns. So.
I know. I can understand that. Erik, my friend, thank you so much. Enjoy the Super Bowl on Sunday, and looking forward to seeing you down in Orlando on April 5th.
Thank you. I look forward to it as well. Have a great weekend.
You too. Erik Coleman, former Jets cornerback, and just a wonderful dude. Getting to know him when he played for the Jets and staying connected with him all of these years. So great to have Erik Coleman on the show. We've got more to do. First, before we go to break, a little more business to take care of. It's time for What's Hot at ticketbash.com. Ticketbash.com is your home for Super Bowl packages. For a limited time, you can use the code HOLIDAY15 for 15% off your order. Tonight, the Islanders visit the Devils at the Rock, and the Rangers host the Hurricanes at the Garden. Tomorrow at the Garden, St. John's will host UConn. I believe that game is a Ticketmaster sellout, which means you can't get tickets through Ticketmaster. So your only way in is on the secondary market, and you got to go to ticketbash.com and get the best seats at the best prices. No service fees at ticketbash.com. Coming up next, we're going to talk some pucks. We will talk about the USA Challenge Cup coming to UBS Arena between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. We'll also have the Coaches Collectibles item of the week, and we'll tell you about next week's shows. That's all coming up when we come back right after this. We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Hi, I'm Peter.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,600 families, raising over $44 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times.
What's doing,
These
Chris?
precious wishes cost an average of $7,100
How are
each.
you?
And your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 84
Just out here
cents of
working.
every dollar going directly to
flying
supporting
yesterday.
our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved. In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the...
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. I'm Peter Schwartz. We'll get back to your calls at 516-465-3990. Again, many thanks to former Jets cornerback Erik Coleman for joining us on the program in the last segment as we get set for Super Bowl 60 on Sunday. And also, we talked to Erik about the stuff going on with the Jets and the Giants. So we thank Erik for joining us on the program. Coming up on Sunday, February 22nd, 5 o'clock at UBS Arena, the home of the New York Islanders. It's going to be the second annual USA Challenge Cup and the second game in the United States between two professional teams from Israel, and it's a rematch of last year's game, HC Tel Aviv against the Jerusalem Capitals. And with us via Zoom are three special guests. First, we have the co-founder and the co-commissioner of the Israel Elite Hockey League, Mark Brunengraber. We have the assistant captain of Jerusalem, Josh Greenberg, and we have the assistant captain of Tel Aviv, Chris Blake. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the show. Let me start with you, Mark, and as someone who has been so instrumental in the growth of hockey in Israel to bring this game again for the second year in a row to UBS Arena. How excited are you for this year's Challenge Cup?
Well, when you have a league like ours that's a small startup and a sport that's growing in Israel slowly but surely, to be able to come to one of the greatest arenas in the world, first-class NHL arena for the New York Islanders, and be able to show our product and our league and our people is, it's how could you not be excited? It's great.
Last year's game I mentioned earlier in the show was such a success. You had 8,000 people there, basically filling the lower bowl. It was a great game that went to overtime, and I'm sure you're hoping for more of the same coming up on February 22nd.
Sure. Obviously, as the commissioner, I can't root for either team. I have lots of friends on both teams, and I'm just hoping for a really great competitive game.
Let me move over and bring in Tel Aviv assistant captain Chris Blake, and I'm going to hold up the Tel Aviv jersey once again for everybody to see it on TV. Chris, thank you very much for joining us on the show. I'll ask you the same question. Coming off the success of last year's game, how excited are you to come back to Long Island this year?
I'm very excited. I think it's going to be another fireworks display. I think the crowd was electric. I think we delivered for the fans. I mean, it started off a little tough for us, but we came back and made it a game, and we got the crowd into it, and everyone seemed so excited and to support Israel, the Jewish community, and the IHL. So it's a very fun experience, and I'm excited for it again.
Yeah, the juices were definitely flowing in that game. I think there were a couple of fights in the game, and the crowd really got into it. There was a lot of really good hockey that night, and makes for a really fun and exciting night for all the fans that are there, right?
Absolutely. I think, trust me, there's more fireworks to come. So it's going to be it's going to be a fun rivalry game and a good rematch for sure.
I think Chris, based on what we saw in the Stadium Series game on Sunday night, do you think maybe we'll see a goalie fight in this game?
You can't say never. You never really know. It's always a possibility.
That was what I used to do when I played goal. I miss the playing days when I hear things like that.
Let me turn our attention to Jerusalem Capitals assistant captain Josh Greenberg, and let me, in the spirit of equal time, let me hold up the Jerusalem Capitals jersey, which is outstanding again. And Josh Greenberg joins us here on the show. Josh, I'll let you have the floor here for a little bit. It was a great atmosphere with 8,000 people at last year's game. Looking forward to the rematch?
Absolutely. To answer the previous question, I can speak to HC Tel Aviv goalie Max Kochberg to get him fired up to maybe get you that goalie fight. But it's fantastic. As part of the Israeli contingent, it's just an honor to play in an NHL arena, and we're just so thrilled to come and represent Israel hockey. And this is the second time, and we just hope we can provide you a entertaining game like last year with lots of goals, lots of action, and Israeli hockey style. So we just can't wait to get there.
Josh, for someone like yourself who plays in the league there in Israel, the Israel Elite Hockey League, can you talk to me about the growth of the sport in Israel and how it has been able to progress over the years?
Hockey in Israel has been around for over 30 years with different variations of our main league. At the very beginning, the 90s and the 2000s, there was like only, 4 or 5 teams that would go, once a month to Metula. They would drive from the center, 3 hours to play a game every month or so. Now there's 2 thriving leagues. We have obviously the Federation League, but here the IEHL, we're bringing just top talent from all over the world to Israel to play with the best players in Israel that we're trying to grow from a national spotlight, and then also to, grow their games in whatever domestic leagues in America and Europe. And it's at an all-time high with the skill level, and we're only growing. And we hope to, turn more heads at UBS and continue to bring new talent to the league. And after this game, we have the summer league coming up, which will start to field the teams, and it's only getting better.
Mark, can we bring you back in too, and talking about the growth of hockey in the Jewish community? And you look around the NHL, and there are now tons of Jewish players. You look no further than right here in the New York area with with Adam Fox playing for the New York Rangers. So what kind of inspiration does it give to the kids and the other people and adults who are thinking about getting into hockey in Israel when they see whether it's an Adam Fox or another player in the NHL who's Jewish? What does that mean to them in growing the sport in Israel?
I think it works, both ways, actually. What's nice is that, obviously for kids in Israel, they not only have, players like Josh who are Israeli and guys like Chris who are American and come and play in our league. So they have those guys to look up to. But obviously, if you have satellite in Israel, you get the greatest hockey league in the world in the NHL. And to see Jewish guys play in that league, and now and there's a bunch like you mentioned, but now we have an Israeli in the league for the first time with Zev Buim, who's currently with the Vancouver Canucks. Mm-hmm. So for the kids in Israel to see him play is a big deal. It's not just listen, I don't want to make light of the Jewish participation element, but to see an actual Israeli Jew participating in the NHL now, I think is a door opener. And what's nice also is that Israeli kids and even, Jewish kids here in America can look and say, hey, not everyone's going to make the NHL, right? Most elite hockey players don't. But now you have leagues all over the world that are competitive and professional, and now we've got something in Israel to offer them. So I think it's a cross flow that works really nicely.
I have to tell you, Mark, there were a couple of real goosebump moments at last year's game. One of which obviously was the gentleman who came out onto the ice. And you're going to have to refresh my memory on the story, but he was an older gentleman who was able to skate out, played hockey in Israel, and was I believe a war veteran also. His
name is Ivan Gluck.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God he's alive and well.
Okay,
and he is a Holocaust survivor.
Yes, that's what it was.
And he joined both teams in practice the Friday morning before the game last year, and then he came out at UBS, and we were honored to have him, and hoping that he'll be back this month.
I hope so. That was wonderful. And the other for me, as someone who's a proud Jew, to be at UBS Arena and have the teams on the ice, and to hear the Israeli national anthem played, to hear Hatikva. I mean, I wish my father was there to see it because he would have been crying, kind of like I welled up during that that anthem. I would imagine we're going to have a similar atmosphere with another wonderful singer singing the Israeli national anthem.
I think so. It's something that we really pride ourselves on as a league. Really, as I mentioned, I don't know if you recall the speech that I gave at the before puck drop last year, but basically the point of this league is not only to grow the sport in Israel, but it's also a way to show Israel and what it really is and what it really is not to people of the world who might not otherwise get to see it through hockey, right? So you take a guy like Chris, who we have with us today, and Chris is an American guy from Texas, played his college hockey in Oklahoma, and really didn't have much familiarity with the Jewish community before coming to play in the IEHL. He's an original IEHL veteran, been there every season since the beginning. And now you take somebody like Chris and he goes to Israel and he says, oh, all this stuff you hear about Israel in the media that they, it's an apartheid state, they commit genocide. He's a living testament to the fact that Israelis are normal people and they love sports and they love to interact with other people who don't happen to be Israeli. And that's really what we get out of this league. It's not only giving Jewish pride to people here and in Israel, but it's also an outreach to show Israel's true face to the world and to show that Israel is a normal, Western-leaning, modern, diverse democracy. And it's not just for Jewish people either. And that's one of the beautiful things about the league, I think.
Chris, can I follow up with you on what Mark just said about your experience playing in Israel and how much pride you have taken in helping to grow the sport there?
Yeah, absolutely. Between Mark and our other friend that started a league, they reached out when it began, and I tried to figure out where it was on the map, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. But truthfully, I was like, let me just take a stab at it. And, it was a great experience. I enjoyed it. I saw the growth and I saw what can happen with it. And, I've been back every year since. I actually met my wife over there, who's Jewish Israeli as well. And, it's a beautiful country. I consider it a second home. I've been there the last 5 summers. She's got family there. So, and I continue to go back. It's what people say is not true in my mind. And if you want to go there yourself and experience it, then, you should, because it's a beautiful country. The people are amazing. The food is amazing. So, and the hockey is great. So, it's a growing country, and I support it completely. So excited to go back.
And we look forward to the game. And Josh, back to you. One last thing, about the game coming up on February 22nd. For those people who did not see the game last year, have not seen these teams play, tell us a little bit about, the two teams, what kind of hockey you think we'll see on February 22nd.
Oh, that's an excellent question. I mean, HC Tel Aviv is run by an excellent coach. They have a good program over there. Discipline hockey, but at the same time, they like to mix it up. They're more feisty. They like to instigate the fights. Mr. Blake, if we have some shifts together, he'll say some chirps my way to get me going. So that's been a common battle over these last 5 years.
Are they the chirps? Are they like chirps like we would hear on the TV show Shorzy?
Yeah,
but more a little bit more.
But in Hebrew and not in broken Canadian, right?
For some in Hebrew and some a little bit more kosher, but they're good nonetheless. There's some good chirp talkers in the league. And Jerusalem, we're just we're just a mixed bag. I can't really give our style because each year it differs. So you just have to catch us on a good night. But we'll give them a good shot because we want to go 2 for 2 here. We don't want to go to UBS and suffer a loss. So we're excited. HC Tel Aviv is one of our long-standing rivals. We are the original 4 teams from the leagues. We have many games played against, and we have, some revenge from last summer because it didn't go so well against HC Tel Aviv. So just like I said, looking forward, it's an honor to play at UBS, represent Israel, represent the IHL, and we just can't wait. And anyone who hasn't bought a ticket, now's the time because you're getting in for a great night celebrating hockey and celebrating Israel. So don't miss out.
And that's a great segue back to Mark on the subject of tickets. Mark, for those people who have not gotten their tickets yet, how do they get their tickets and what other surprises are they in store for that night?
Well, the easiest way to get tickets is just go right onto Ticketmaster and type in IEHL hockey or Jerusalem or Tel Aviv hockey, and it'll pop right up, and you can click on and buy a ticket like any other event. As far as what's in store, what we really try to do is have a night of not only hockey, but Jewish cultural activities and pride. Everything from different vendors that have Israeli themed items to Israeli singers and music. There's, for those who keep kosher, there's glatt kosher food available. It's really just a great night of community pride, and we really do make it a point to, for those fans who come who are not Jewish, to really thank them for coming out and standing with us, especially, in times like this where Israel and anything Israeli and in large part Jewish gets demonized. To have people who are willing to stand with us and support us, we're really grateful to them as well.
Awesome. Mark Brunengraber, the co-founder and co-commissioner of the Israel Elite Hockey League. We have Jerusalem Capitals assistant captain Josh Greenberg and Tel Aviv assistant captain Chris Blake. That's all part of the USA Challenge Cup, February 22nd, 5 o'clock at UBS Arena. All three of you gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me here on the show. Can't wait for February 22nd. If I could skate, I would want to play, but I can't skate. So I'd be more than happy to sit in the stands with my family and see a great hockey game that night.
Well, we look forward to seeing you there, and thanks so much for having us out today.
Awesome. Thank you, guys, and best of luck during your seasons and in the big game on February 22nd at UBS Arena. Again, I will tell you, it was a wonderful event last year, and really, really looking forward to being back there on February 22nd. It's time for the Coach's Collectibles item of the week, and it's this Patriots and Seahawks, two separate boxes, beautiful wooden box set of their Super Bowl rings. And for the Seahawks, it's just one. Hopefully it's two after Sunday. And of course, the Patriots, there's 6 of them. So you've got that going for you there with Coach's Collectibles, your number one source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. Check them out online at www.coachescollectiblesny.com and use code SPORTSBASH for free shipping on all orders. And also, I forgot to put this in the script, but I got to mention it anyway. Francisco Alvarez of the New York Mets will be at Mulcahy's on Saturday for a Coach's Collectibles private signing and photo op event. So you want to check that out online at coachescollectiblesny.com. And hopefully we'll see you at Mulcahy's on Saturday. Hoping to be there, hoping we get a chance to talk to Francisco and get that interview on social and also get it on Sports Bash Tuesday. So, and I'll tell you one thing about Francisco Alvarez, and Tony, you know this from following him over the last few years. The guy really busted his butt to learn how to speak English, and he went from not being able to speak a lick of English to all of a sudden going up to Steve Gelbs of SNY and wanting to get that first interview. You remember that on I think it was last year or the year before. So I'm looking forward. I met Francisco Alvarez at a baseball clinic that he did, and I did an interview with him, and we needed a translator at that time. I'm looking forward to now talking to him perhaps on Saturday if we can make it work out where it's just in English, which, again, if he has to use an interpreter, that's fine too. But I give him all the credit in the world. Hideki Matsui spent all those years with the Yankees and never did an interview in English. I'm like, how did he spend all those years with the Yankees? And I'll really quick, do you mind if we go 2 minutes overtime? 2 minutes overtime. So we were doing... I was working at ESPN Radio, and we were doing a Bruce Springsteen ticket giveaway. And it was a contest where each day you had to remember, we played an athlete or a sports celebrity in New York, and I was the one who gathered all of it as the beat reporter for the station. And I went up to different athletes and asked them what their favorite Bruce Springsteen song was. So Todd Zeile was on the Yankees at the time, and I got him to do one, and Terry Bradway, the GM of the Jets. A whole bunch of athletes in the New York area would tell me. We would play it in the morning on the air, and then on the Michael Kay show in the afternoon, you had, all right, be the fifth caller right now, what was, Terry Bradway's favorite Bruce Springsteen song? So I found out in the Yankee clubhouse one night, and somebody with the Yankees said, who's a big Bruce Springsteen fan, is Hideki Matsui. Oh. I'm like, really? So I go over to Hideki Matsui with the interpreter, Roger, I think was his name, and I told him what I needed to do. So the translator, I believe it was Roger, wrote out what I needed him to say in English, phonetically in Japanese. So he wrote it in Japanese, and here is Hideki Matsui holding the piece of paper, and he reads it like this. Hello, this is Hideki Matsui of the New York Yankees, and my favorite Bruce Springsteen song is Born to Run. I just thought it was like the funniest, coolest thing that there was. Hideki Matsui, who never spoke a lick of English, did that Bruce Springsteen thing for me. It was great. But Terry Bradway, who was the Jets GM at the time, from New Jersey. He never moved to Long Island when the Jets were practicing at Hofstra. And I think he was a slam dunk. He's from New Jersey. Let me go ask him. So I'm at practice one day. Said, Terry, can you do this thing for me? I need you to do this Bruce Springsteen thing. Peter, I don't like Bruce Springsteen.
Wow.
I'm like, are you the only person from New Jersey who doesn't like Bruce Springsteen?
Did you get Al Leiter?
I think I got Al Leiter.
Yeah, he's a Jersey guy, and he likes Bruce.
And so I said, Terry, I have to get a bunch of them for the week. Can I just give you a song to say, yeah, sure. So I gave him 10th Avenue Freeze Out, right? So I'm listening to Michael Kay do the contest, and he's like, and let's see what Terry Bradway's favorite Bruce Springsteen. Hey, it's Terry Bradway, GM of the Jets, and my favorite Bruce Springsteen song is 10th Avenue Freeze Out. Michael Kay comes back on after, and he said, he doesn't come off as a 10th Avenue Freeze Out kind of guy. I think Peter Schwartz gave him that thing, which was the truth. Yeah. He didn't like Bruce Springsteen at all. Michael thought at least he liked Bruce Springsteen because the problem you would have is if everybody gave the same song. You had to have different songs. So Michael Kay sniffed it out right away. He said, there's no way that Terry Bradway is a 10th Avenue Freeze Out kind of guy. But that'll be fun with Francisco Alvarez. I don't know how we got onto Terry Bradway and Bruce Springsteen. I think it had to do with Francisco Alvarez not speaking English, and now that's how we did. Coming up on Tuesday on Sports Bash, we'll recap the Super Bowl. We'll have a guest on to talk about that. We'll also talk more about the Olympics as the NHL players will have descended upon Milan and Cortina and getting ready for the men's hockey tournament in Italy. Next Thursday, we're going to be joined by a player from the New York Sirens of the Professional Women's Hockey League. They're going to play a game at Madison Square Garden, first ever women's hockey game at Madison Square Garden on April 4th against Seattle. We will have a player from the New York Sirens on the show next Thursday, and we'll have some other fun as well and all the usual things. That will do it for this edition of Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. Thanks to my guests, Erik Coleman, Josh Greenberg, Chris Blake, and Mark Brunengraber. Thanks to our social media coordinator, Leanne Burgess, and thanks to my good friend, Tony Walker, and everyone here at Governors, and thanks to Neil from Midnight Riders for sitting in if you want a great deal on getting a ride to the airport or wherever you need to go. And, he'll get his Fred Flintstone mobile out and do those steps and get you from Long Island to LaGuardia in a nick of time, in the absolute nick of time. And if you're lucky, his phone will go off in the middle of the car ride. He's going to kill me. Sports Bash is sponsored. He's just telling me I'm number one. He just told me I was number one. How about that? Oh, well, that's what I'm going to do when I get home. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner. He held up two fingers. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, by Coach's Collectibles, and by the Marty Lyons Foundation. For our entire crew, I'm Peter Schwartz. Thank you for watching. Sports Bash returns Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Go Islanders tonight. Go Seahawks on Sunday. And we'll see you on Tuesday.